Hello everyone, welcome back. So, in the last lecture, we had seen and we had started some of the major resources. So, looking forward for the major resources, we had started the first resource that was called as forest resource. We had looked into the depth of this forest resource, and with this forest resource, we have also seen one of the major element related to forest resource that was called as deforestation. So I hope you have gone through this resource in detail, and today we are going to start with our next unit and next resource, which is one of the major criteria for the living organism. Maybe it can be a human being, it can be any other kind of animal, or it can be any other kind of source which is there connected with this form of source. This source is one of the natural kind of sources because we are dealing with right now natural resources. So it is one of the major natural resource, and it is one of the major natural resource. I'm saying so reason is because you can't live without this kind of resource, right? So we do have food, we do have different kind of product which are canned product, etc., etc., but we cannot live without the water. And today's point is to discuss about something of water resource, which is one of the major resource for a living organism present on the earth. So as we know that this resource is one of the oldest kind of resource because it has been started its existence before the human started its existence or any other kind of living organism started its existence. So it can be considered to be the oldest form of resource which is present on the earth system or earth planet. So, when we start something talking about a resource, like I said yesterday, you should always have a question in your mind that what exactly do I mean or what exactly should I know something about this particular kind of resource. Water resource being the oldest kind of the resource should be understood in depth and also should be understood with regards to its problems and its effects and its solutions. So water resource is one of the resource which is available for the human survival in an ample of form. But do we use this water resource as it is present on the surface of the earth completely, or do we partially use it, or do we do not use it? Reason is because there is some kind of water resource which is present on the earth which we cannot use, and that is what we are going to study today. So let's understand what exactly is the idea of water resource. So water resource is something which is useful and potentially useful. Okay. So it is not only a source of water which you use and you just leave it. Basically, if you look forward for water resource, it is one of the potentially used resource. That means one cannot live without a water, or one cannot survive without the water, or one cannot work without the water. So that is called as potentially use of water. So if you go for the potential use, you can go with ample of examples. For example, you can go with industrialization. It needs water. Agriculture, it needs water. In that case, look at us, a household, that is, we need water. For daily activity, water is needed everywhere. Similarly, for environmental activities also water is needed. For example, photosynthesis, water is needed. For the growth of the plant, which we called as recreation, water is needed. So in turn, what I mean to say is that water is one such kind of resource which no one can deny. Hardly anyone can say that I do not need a water. Even though some examples are there, for example, you can go with camel, or for that case, you can go with a desert rat, which can survive without the water for months together. But finally, a stage comes when these organisms also need the water because a particular kind of a gland or a particular kind of a organ which holds the water for this camel and rat, that is especially the desert rat, has a limitation itself, and at particular stage when the limitation ends up, it needs water. Henceforth, water is one of the potentially useful resource. Okay. The second important point, the water is available at 97% on the earth. Okay. So even though you can find out some different figures here, but I have not mentioned the entire detailing, so you have to listen it to carefully and write it down, that we have 97% of water on the earth. But exactly what I said in the first sentence itself, that do we or are we able to use this 97% of water? The answer is no. Reason is because 97% of water present on the earth is salty water, and I highly recommend that no one can actually drink a salty water or a shower water or a saline water. Then how much percent do we have for the drinking purpose? It's only 3%. Okay, so human being or organism which we are using the water for our survival is only a 3%, and 97% is of salty water. Mark that this question has been arising again and again in each and every competitive examination. That means they ask for a ratio. What is the ratio of salty water to fresh water? So you can look forward for this. That is, it is 97 is to 3%. So that is a part. The next part which you have to also understand is this: while we have 97% of the salty water and 3% of the fresh water which the human can use, which the human and the organism uses for its survival, its basic needs, its agricultural needs, its industrial needs, 67% of this water is actually covered with the surface water, and 2.7% of this is covered by the global water. Okay, now we'll try to understand this portion in detail in the next slide, but only keep these figures in mind right now so that it will become easy for you people to understand the further slide. Now, this fresh water is basically present in forms of hydrospheres. That means we have number of hydrospheres present for us. The nature has provided us with not only a single resource of water. You can use different resources of water, and this resources of water is nothing else but called as a hydrosphere. So basically, when someone asks you a question, what do you mean by a hydrosphere? You should be very clear with the answer that hydrosphere is nothing else but it is a combined mass of water. It is not a single mass of water, it is a combined mass of water. Now, what do I mean by combined mass of water? I mean the water which is present on the surface of earth, which is present under the surface of earth, and which is present over the surface of earth. Okay, now these three concepts are very important because on the basis of these three concepts only we can understand what level of water we are using, which is called as a fresh water. So according to some studies, it has been claimed that around the total mass of Earth hydrosphere, that means the total mass of combined water system which is present on the Earth, about 1.4 into 10 to the power 18 tons of water is available. Okay, but about 0.023% of Earth total mass is occupied by it. Now what does it mean? That means you have a total mass of 1.4 into 10 to the power 18 tons of water present on the earth. But this total mass of water which is present on the earth is a earth's hydrosphere. Okay, out of which you have a earth total mass, that means usable form, of around 0.023% only. And in that case also about 20 into 10 to the power 12 tons is in earth atmosphere. So when we were talking something about if you remember the segments of the atmosphere or segments of the zones of the atmosphere, we have distributed it into forms called as biosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere. So the part which is occupied with the water portion is mostly present in the atmospheric condition, and on earth or under the earth or over the earth this surface zone is comparatively low. Okay, so now when we have such a low quantity of water, let's say only we have 3% of water which is available for our survival, that means for the survival of organism, our survival in a sense, all the organisms which are living on the earth, that is called as our survival, not only human beings. how can you use these 3% of water only for your utilization, for your growth, for your recreation, for your development, and for your living? So that is the biggest question, and henceforth the part is divided into three forms. Okay, so if you remember, in the second part I said that it is on, under and over. So if you understand this concept of on, under and over, it becomes very easy for us to understand and study the hydrosphere. So this part is basically called as surface water, that is on, groundwater, that is under, and frozen water. Now you should also have an idea this frozen water is never called as over. Okay, reason is over means something of related to earth atmosphere. So frozen basically is considered to be underwater or on water. So it can be a varied in forms. For example, if you go for the northern zone or north pole, especially, you find more number of glaciers. So we find the glacier on the upper part, that means the ice caps are on the upper part, which we see, which is visible to our eyes, okay, which is in a form of a mountain. But it is not only the part which is present above the water. Rather, when you call for a frozen water, you have to go deep inside the water body, that means in the ocean or in the sea, and you can find that the cap, that means the mountain, ice mountain, which you find on the surface of the water, it has double and triple rate under the water also. And hence what I said, that frozen water cannot be said as over the water. It is basically called as a surface water. But why do we call it as surface water is a different criteria. Let's understand the first part, and that is called as a surface water. Now surface water basically means the water which is obtained from the rain in a form of maybe a pure form of a rain or a contaminated form of a rain, but this should be a natural process. Okay, so this water gets collected on the ground, and on the ground I literally means that it gets collected or it falls or it gets run off into the river and lakes. So consider आपके पास एक तालाब है, आपने एक गांव में मिलकर एक तालाब क्रिएट किया है for preserving some kind of water. So the water will of course be a natural source through the rain form, and one cannot create a lake and then pour the water with the help of a tanker. So that is not exact method of surface water. Surface water का मतलब ही होता है कि आप एक creek create करो. Now this can be a natural form or this can be something created by human beings also. For example, we human beings create the lakes. We create small ponds for the preservation and conservation of the water. That is called a storage of water. So that is a artificial form. It is okay, it can be a natural or artificial form, but the source of water should be only natural. That means it should get collected with the help of the rainwater. Now this rainwater can directly fall into the river or a lake or a pond, or else it can be passing through the vents or capillaries which are going underground. Okay, but when we are talking something about the surface water, you have to keep in mind that the rain should fall from above and the water should directly get saturated in that particular pond or river or lake. So that is called as a surface water. This surface water basically is one of the natural form, and hence it is one of the precipitate form. Okay, so when we are talking something about the precipitate, that means we are talking something about the loss of the water. That means पानी जितना ज़्यादा आएगा, for example, let's consider a Jaikwadi dam for our part. So we'll go with Jaikwadi dam. The water is getting saturated in the dam. Fine. The water is there because it's good rain this time. So when the water gets saturated in particular kind of a lake or a river, it is there till date when you have a favorable season. But when the summer season comes, because it is an open space, because it is open area, you can't cover the water because it is a larger area, and you can't try to control this kind of water. So it easily gets evaporated, it easily gets discharged, and this discharge basically takes place in two forms. Either it gets into a form of a precipitate, that means इसका raindrop होने के लिए आगे शुरुआत हो जाती है, या फिर सेकेंड पार्ट होता है दैट इज कॉल्ड एज सब सरफेस. दैट मीन्स दिस वाटर गेट्स पेनिट्रेटेड, ये वाटर एब्जॉर्ब होना शुरू हो जाता है. जैसे कि हमने लास्ट लेक्चर में देखा था, मैंने कहा था कि अर्थ इटसेल्फ इज अ काइंड ऑफ स्पॉन्ज, so it can hold the water, and this holding of water takes place because of the water which is present on the surface. जो पानी ऊपर के पार्ट में आएगा, धरती पे गिरेगा या फिर अर्थ सरफेस पे गिरेगा, वो बाद में धीरे धीरे पेनिट्रेट होगा with the help of the maybe gravels, maybe stones, which is creating a pores in the earth, and this gets filtered and enters into the surface of the water. Now this entrance of water into the inner side of the surface of water is called basically as subsurface or inside water or groundwater. Okay. So surface water basically also is one of the form which can be obtained in some regions where the capacity or the content of the atmosphere is more acidic in nature. For example, the areas where the lava is very active. So in these places also the surface water is there, but this surface water is comparatively little different to that of what we have right now with us, and this water is basically called as magmatic water. So magmatic water का मतलब होता है it is a one kind of water in which there is some kind of liquid of magma, that means volatile liquid, जहाँ पे volcano होता है, उसमें minerals और pollutants काफ़ी ज़्यादा होते हैं, वो मिक्स हो जाते हैं वाटर के साथ में, and it comes out and it gets saturated in that kind of water. So that is called as a magmatic water. So if you want to take such an example of magmatic water, you can for Maharashtra itself, for India itself, you can find in Maharashtra Lonar Sarovar. So it is one of the best example of magmatic water. Magmatic water in a source, the pond or a lake is formed by a meteorite collision. It is a natural form of lake or a pond which is formed, and because it has a deep inside of magma or hot lava or volcano, so it comes out with the water and it gets saturated over there. So it is not a normal kind of water which can be used by normal kind of organism for the survival. So that is called as magmatic water. It can also be called as juvenile water or volcanic water also. Okay, so it is one kind of cosmetic water also. So you have to remember these kind of names, so it becomes easy for you people to understand when some kind of question occurs, that what do you call as volcanic water. So it can be called as juvenile water, magmatic water and cosmic water also. Now this surface water is basically 3% only which we use. 7% is present in, that means fresh water. So on an other hand, 87% is present in lakes, 11% in swamps, and 2% is present only in the rivers. Now what do you mean by swamps? Swamps का मतलब होता है दलदल. So it is not a source which one can use. So 11% becomes of no use. Remaining, that is 87%. So we can use of 87% from the lakes if it is very clean and clear lake, and 2% from the rivers. Reason is because it is a continuous flow of water. So one cannot control that kind of water. Rather, we humans are trying to do to control this kind of water, but it becomes sometimes very hard also. The next important point which we have to remember when we talk something about the surface water is that it has a different runoff timing. Okay, runoff timing and storage capacity ये surface water की बहुत ज़्यादा different होती है. For example, you can find in this kind of example, like I have shown that gravels, like I said that earth itself is a kind of a sponge and water penetrates. So water कैसा penetrate होता है ये इसमें से दिखाई देगा आपको. For example, the water gets saturated on the surface of the part of earth, and the different kind of soils proportions which it is having, the earth is having, varies. So for example, अगर किसी लैंड एरिया में ग्रेवल होंगे, जिसे हम हिंदी में या मराठी में खड़ी कहते हैं, सो यहाँ पे काफ़ी ज़्यादा पोरस मटेरियल, पोरस लैंड तैयार हो जाता है. सो यहाँ पे क्या होगा, वाटर अच्छी तरह से पेनिट्रेट हो सकता है और वाटर को स्टोर कर सकती है अर्थ. ऑन एन अदर हैंड, अगर चिकनी मिट्टी होती है, जैसे हम स्लैंड या स्लिट्स के फॉर्म में कहते हैं, सो उसको टाइम लगता है पेनिट्रेट होने में वाटर। ऑन एन अदर हैंड अगर क्ले होती है तो काफ़ी ज़्यादा टाइम ले लेती है, जहाँ पे हार्ड क्ले होता है, जहाँ पे स्पेशली लाइमस्टोन्स की प्रॉपर्टी काफ़ी ज़्यादा होंगी अर्थ में, वहाँ पे वाटर जल्दी पेनिट्रेट नहीं होगा। इसीलिए आप अगर देखो तो अर्थ को भी बहुत अच्छी तरह से डिफ्रेंशिएट किया गया है, दैट इज इट इज having a black soil, a red soil, white soil. So that is the reason. So it makes easy for the people like us to understand and study how the water penetration and how water holding capacity might be there. Okay, so we can store this water, that is surface water, naturally, because natural ponds and rivers and lakes are created, but also artificial can be created by creating reservoirs, dams, ponds, water bodies, lakes, etc, etc. So water bodies which is created by the surface water are of great use for human itself. For example, the dams which we create. So because we create the dams, we basically store huge quality of water, and this huge amount of water is stored for the process of human survival. That means it is also used for the daily needs, it is used for the generation of electricity, it is used for the generation of industrial purposes, for different kind of sources. Okay, so this is one of the greatest source of water which human uses, that is called as surface water. So when you use it, you increase the capacity of this water. When you increase the capacity of this water, of course you have something called as draining of water also, and this draining up of water should be controlled accordingly. That means run off नहीं होना चाहिए, और ये run off नहीं होना चाहिए, इसके लिए सबसे अच्छा और यूजफुल एलिमेंट होता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज plantation of tree, जो हमने लास्ट लेक्चर में देखा था, that is called as forestation. So if you have a good kind of forest, you have a right to protect this kind of water for your use also. This water is a natural source by and can be augmented, that means increased. You can increase its rate. So increasing the rate means you can create naturally, artificially. Naturally, in a sense, I mean you have to plant more and more trees so you can naturally protect this water. That is the only natural form which you can do accordingly from the point of human existence. And artificial, you have number and ample of solutions for it. So I don't need to tell again and again that you can create a dam, lakes, ponds, canals, etc, etc. So that is an artificial augmentation method, that is okay with it. So you need to practice basically, because surface water is such kind of water which is useful for human, very ample and very form. Reason is because this water is in direct use compared to that of the groundwater and frozen water, which we are going to see in the next part. So groundwater and frozen water have a problem because it is not easily available. You have to do much a kind of a job to extract this kind of water. Comparatively, surface water is very easily available, hence you have to protect this kind of water. And to a point which you have to remember from the world point of view is that Brazil is one such kind of a country which has a good fresh water supply. So even though it is one of the developed countries, it is still having one of the largest supplies of the water, which is a fresh water, and followed by Russia and Canada. So you can see, even though the countries are developed, even though they have a good kind of industrialization, they have a good kind of utilization of water, but at the same time they also might have done some kind of resources which purify the water, which they reuse. Rather than only using the water and creating a pollutant for it, these countries have created something called as re-energy resources. That means reutilization of this resource very properly. So and if you go for this kind of series, for example, there's a question asked that which is the country having the largest fresh water. So it is Brazil basically, and one question was asked that which sorry, give a sequence basically from the increasing order. So it should be maybe it is an increasing order or decreasing order. So you should have this point very much clear in your mind that it is Brazil, Russia and Canada, or Canada, Russia and Brazil. So look forward for the question very clearly, whether the question is an increasing order or decreasing order. Only you have to keep in mind one thing, that Russia is the largest, one most country for having a fresh water, followed by Brazil, and followed by Russia, and followed by Canada. Don't ask me about the India, you have to search for it, but you have to search for it so that it becomes easy for us to study. So till we meet in the next lecture, where we will try to understand something about the groundwater and fresh water, try to study beforehand something about fresh water. Till then, study hard.